Rightio, over the ditch. Starting off with a little bit of a different look today. Cam Bray over there in New Zealand. Hello, Cameron.
G'day, boys. How are you?
Very, very well. And Mark Hughes joins me here in the studio. Hello again, Hughesy.
Afternoon, Cobber. Salubrious Studios in Maiden Gully, mate. Looking beautiful day.
We're changing a few things up. We've got to get a few other things changed. But Barristock, great supporters of mine. They've also got the only banner in Campbell's comments at the minute, so it's all good.
That's all good. I'm sure that we should be able to wrestle one for you across the ditch in May, mate. So
yeah,
all good. You can find room for us, can you?
May 23rd. No, I can find room. Don't worry about that. I've got the sweet loo. I don't know if you've noticed. Got the sweet loo up there, so it's okay. Cam, May 23rd, NZB weanling sales going to be around very, very shortly, mate.
Well, yeah, it is, isn't it? Big crocky. It's the old year's racing by. It seems like we just finished selling the yearlings. We're still tidying up the aftermath of the yearlings, and we're into weanlings. So, no, it's good. It's always a sale that I look forward to. Probably one of my more favourite sales we have throughout the year. It's always pretty good, and we always get a lot of international guests, which is even better.
There is something about it, isn't there, Hughesy? I mean, you kept telling me I had to go to it. Kath McIntosh, a few other people have all said the same thing. Once you go to it, something really cool about it, and it's got nothing to do with NZB, Woodlands, or anyone. It's just a cool sale to go to. It's got a great feel and great vibe to it.
Yeah, it's just a real point of difference sale. And historically now, year on year, it's got better. And I think it's a perfect time for a lot of people to be there as well. May is not a pressurised time for people in the breeding industry, so it's a great time to be there. And I know there are a number of Australians coming across and doing a little bit of tiki touring, as the Kiwis would say, and are going by the sale. So it's almost a time-honoured event in a way now.
It is, and it's a great time of the year, the weather.
Yeah.
Remember the Kiwis kept saying, you won't know how cold it is. You won't know how cold it is. I want to live in central Victoria to feel what cold is. Some of those people up there in Auckland. Cam Hughesy said there it's a time-honoured event. Some of the graduates are there, and we'll touch on a few of those shortly. But Artie by the Seaside, Better Zip It, Mantra Blue, Maestro, we go with Sinbad, Dave Dooley, Kiss, and Ultimate Racy Girl. But there's been so many other graduates from the weanling sales as such, not necessarily the NZB ones, because you guys haven't been doing them for that long.
Well, we've been doing it for 5 sales, so 4 seasons of racing. 4 seasons of racing. We've got 14 stakes winners and already Group 1 winners. So, and we've always historically sold around the 100 to 110, 15 odd weanlings. So, I reckon that's really good statistics. When you think about the average price, I think one year we spiked to just over 15,000. Return on investment, it's a fantastic sale for someone looking to invest in a racehorse or pinhook. There's so many different options. You've got pinhooked horses there. You've got horses that have been bought to specifically race. And then you've got horses there that have been bought, tried, sold. So, we've got, especially in those graduates that you've just mentioned, there's all 3.
Yep. It's interesting because you say 4 years, which is in natural respect, right? But effectively, the 2-year-olds, they've only just started. So it's really only 3 full seasons. And the 2-year-olds this year, which they've hit the ground running here. Hughesy, it's quite interesting. Artie by the Seaside, Chaka, down by the Seaside, just over the last few years, he's had some dead set stellar horses pop out of this sale.
Yeah, look, he has. And we know that to give a stallion like him a little bit of momentum, momentum, starts with an M, early, was to strategically place some of his stock in this sale. So we did it with Lou, we've done it with him, Lather Up. And if you look, maybe Seasides are, as returning for those that have invested in him heavily at this weanling sale. A lot of people are well and truly in front with him by now. Very similar sort of vibe to the American Ideals that have been through this sale over the journey. And that goes back well over a decade, but similar sort of vibe between American Ideal and Seaside in this sale. And we know how how things played out with American Ideal on the racetrack.
Yeah, and both vendors, Cam, Alabar, of course, they do the same thing. There's art majors in this sale. They patronise their good stallions. They also try to get the brand out there for these young and up-and-coming stallions as well.
Well, I don't know how other way you actually mean to do it nowadays. The number of stallions we stand in this country now does make it a little bit harder. So, those commercial studs, they are doing it specifically for this reason, to get them in people's barns. And look, you even look at Hughesy mentioned there about down by the Seaside. Even though they have strategically placed them through the sale, he's not had great numbers for sale through these sales either. So, I think it actually speaks to a point that he has done an exceptional job down by the Seaside. and it being a real value horse when albeit he hasn't been an outstanding graduate, Uguchugga sold for six-figure sum.
Yep, but it was a $900 purchase at the weanling sale, which is...
I think it was, it was. So it wasn't necessarily the weanling sale. It was the online weanling sale due to COVID. We couldn't have a physical sale one year. So it was through that sale, which, it's all good.
That's all good. And there was the same graduate out of that sale, a horse called Sinbad by Seaside, who made over 100 Group 1 placed winner and is now in North America. So,
and he was sold for a lot of money, memory too, at that weanling sale.
He was the highest price winner at that sale, I think, from memory. Gene Feast purchase, so 50 plus. So
I was going to. So is that the record, Cam, for you guys for the sale? Throw you under the bus. You might not know that one. Sorry.
No. Way back for it was a Sweet Lou, I think. But this is back pre NZB. I think we sold one to 75,000 one year.
Yeah,
we sold. We had a wee bit of Cadabra left over one year, and they made into the high 50s when there was a limited opportunity of them. So look, it's consistently a sale that has achieved some good money. As I said, a couple of years ago, we averaged 15.5, 15.8, I think it was, which is huge.
Yeah, it is, and and as I think 2 years ago we got to see the Captain Crunches, you get to see the Seasides, the Kiwis got to see the Lather Ups for the first time. Hadn't seen Lather Up himself because of COVID and all the rest. So it is a great way of putting these horses out there for people, even if they're not in the market for looking for a horse at that occasion. Later on. Yeah,
look, it's a key door opener for a stallion, and their progeny as well. And I think as time has marched on, there's a lot of quality about this sale. I think maybe 10, 12 years ago, people thought it was, we're taking out the trash. But the reality is the results out of this sale have been epic. New Zealand Cup winners have come out of this sale. Grand Circuit horses, Oaks winners, horses of the year. So for all intents and purposes, a lot of the smarties have decided to invest in this sale over their journey. That's why it has such a great clearance rate. But people know and understand that the New Zealand product is just raised so well.
Yep. And it's a great opportunity to get them. And now, of course, with Nutrien, they're able to be pinhooked and bought across here as well, which opens up a whole different market as well, which would be exciting for you guys. Cam, you've always had the pinhookers in New Zealand, but to bring some Australians in there to take them home, chance their arm. We saw some nice results this year through that sale. So there is always that opportunity as well for people that don't have to worry about racing them. There's that other opportunity now.
Well, in probably the way racing has gone, so many of these weanlings they're from such rich families. There's so much upside when you buy a weanling. And probably the pinhookers going into Australia almost have done probably almost a better job when you'd say in sale returns, because of the upside. They don't have a lot of the families we have here. So, you're relying on upside when you're buying a weanling, and that's one of the secrets that no one tells you when you buy it. Is the thing going to grow? And is its half brother going to end up winning the size stakes 3-year-old? But the beauty of it is, in Aussie, you're taking a lot of these horses to Australia without a lot of the current backgrounded family in the country. The problem we see with a lot of the Kiwis is that these are families that are pretty widely held around New Zealand. So you're competing with the same family. But again, in the same token, we've had some fantastic results in the last year from some of these pinhooks because, again, upside, they've grown, they've turned into a fantastic type or whatever. It is probably a risk and reward scenario for a lot of people. But as long as more people are getting the reward rather than copping the risk, that's the beauty of it.
Sending that dollar around more and more will make our industry better too. So that's a total side note to the weanling sales. But the more time $1 can get turned around in our industry, the better off we are. Hughesy, 41 weanlings on offer with one yearling. We'll touch on that in a minute. All stallions represented there. American Ideal. You've actually got an Art Major. Didn't notice that until I just saw it just then. Better's Delight, Seaside, 2 Lather Ups, 2 Speeding Spurs, Sweet Lou well and truly represented, and What the Hill is just doing an awesome job right at the minute, and even now our co-host can attest to that, and being the owner of a couple. But really exciting draft there, mate.
Yeah, look, we're generally excited about a real good cut of fillies and colts there, and they'll all be online probably the second week in May. Photos, videos next week to go up, but there's a sprinkling of all our boys there. The King right through to Lather Up, What the Hill, as you say, American Ideal, like there, it's rich with, let's face it, three of the most elite stallions in the sport at the moment, sitting in that little wheelhouse there amongst those weanlings. We don't need to tell anybody about betters. Any Australian would need to be smart, would might want to try and buy an American Ideal colt for not a lot of money and pinhook it back through the nutrient sale, mate.
Didn't think you were going to say this to anyone.
Oh, no, look, American Ideal makes 5 and 6 times his service fee. His colts 7, 8 times in Australia. Why wouldn't you take one of these horses and have a crack at it and bring it home to Australia? I actually think it's money for Jam.
Yep.
And lose Lou. Like lose, a day doesn't go by when you look at what, he's getting doubles and trebles, and he's got 5 daughters in the New South Wales Oaks on Saturday night.
Track record at Goulburn. Mick Boots Benevolent Fund. Hopefully he buys Sweet Lou a Christmas present every year, because he just absolutely loves them. And we need blokes. Mick Boots, I think he got involved in the weanling sale a couple of years ago as well, Cam. So, I mean, that's the people that do play in this field, isn't it?
Well, that's something to speak to, boys. We've got some of the New Zealand's biggest trainers buying out of the sale, actively buying out of the sale. Alderman Racy Girl, she was a Harness Million place getter, I think. Barry Purden bought, so like these guys are, there's some serious trainers out there, our friend next to you, he can contest that some of the best trainers in, the world have bought from him. And, Ray Green's had a fantastic success out of the sale over many, many years.
Yep. And a couple of horses we hadn't mentioned just there. We always seem to mention them, but copy that. A little bit of the forgotten horse of Australasian harness racing. He's still on a comeback, which would be awesome for him, but a 2-time New Zealand Cup winner. He was a 7,000. I was going to say 4. He was 7,000, and I think hard copy, who ended up being my hard copy, I think was a 4,000. Ended up going through the yearling sales, made money there, and then sold to Australia. Sort of everyone along the way made money out of him right through. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Like as we've said, you do see some results that probably don't work in everyone's favour. There's not been a lot of money, but again, every now and again, it is one of those things. You get the upside, you get the type, you get everything. And, you've had a fantastic return on your investment.
Mark, you've also got a yearling going through. I think Alabar got the other yearling, is it, Ken?
No, Brecon Farms.
Brecon Farms, sorry, yes. Yours is actually got a full sibling in the weanling draft as well, I think, because it's out of by Seaside, out of In the Money.
In the Money, yeah. Look, this is the filly going through that, who's older half sister by Sweet Lou, is a 2-year-old winner in Perth this year for Kevin and Cody Charles. So this Seaside's been reconsigned. The last yearling we reconsigned in a weanling sale was a little horse called Aladdin. Won a Harness Millions, South Australian Derby, $200,000 or $300,000, a son of Sweet Lou. So
great result for the McCormicks. I think he paid for himself in about 2 days, did he not?
He did. So really good business for them, and good business for us because we bred him. So that's a little, little sidebar there. But yeah, and look, obviously there's the full sister weanling filly going through as well.
Yeah. It's an exciting draft. It must be good working with the likes of Alabar and Woodlands, Cam, from your point of view. You know what you get year in, year out. The horses are going to put up are going to be the right horses. You'd have the guys at NZB would have so much faith in your 2 big vendors putting up the right product.
Oh, well, and as I've mentioned before, one of the greatest recipes to the sale is these horses are brought to market to be sold, genuinely. They are motivated vendors. They are targeting the sale. They are breeding far more than they require. So they're targeting the sale. They're motivated vendors. They do a fantastic job and take it very, very seriously. It is a recipe for success. And I think that is a testament, this sale, to those 2 particular vendors on why it's grown to where it is today.
Yeah. To get more information, Mark Hughes, best way to go, woodlandstud.co.nz.
Yeah, woodlandstud.co.nz. Touch base with me. A lot of people, all the Aussies have got my phone number. Catalogues aren't far away, I believe, Cam.
Should be on the plane there or somewhere.
Online at the moment. Talk to Cam. Mate, you've got a direct window to us. You can talk to Tony Grayling, our stud master, Kelly Blakemore, our weanling and yearling manager. People have got a direct line to them. As Cam just spoke about before, we are sellers. We are genuine sellers. We don't go to the marketplace and stuff people around. All these horses will be for genuine sale.
Yep. And the guys at Alabar do the same thing. Graham doesn't like taking any of them home.
No, mate. It's just one more mouth to feed. And it's probably about time some of the industry on both sides of the ditch followed the lead that Alabar and Woodlands are doing at sales, mate.
Yeah. It must, like I said, Cambo, it is a big sale. Best way for people to get the online information, go to nzb.co.nz and just hit on the weanling sale banner.
Yeah, that's the way. If you've got an iPad, look to the Equine Line app. It's a fantastic resource there. You don't even need to have a catalogue then. You can just download the sales as they come live on Equine Line. If you need to get in touch with us, more than welcome to. My number is readily available. And remember, if you are coming and you are travelling, consider the Hilton. It is a fantastic situation there. We can, where you used to park your car, you can now have a sleep, and you can have a few beers and a feed. So how good's that? You don't ever have to leave the property. We make it a pretty good event, Paul. You can attribute to that, Mark. It's pretty social. We don't mind having a bit of chat and a yarn pre and post sale. The races on the Friday, remember?
Oysters natural go okay too, don't they?
You can have them.
Yeah.
Someone did.
But
you got the hotel. Obviously, we've got the races. Auckland Cup on the Friday night. It's we've always tried to coattail the sale in with something else to make it an event. Yep. Any internationals that want to see something while they're here, we're good friends at Woodlands. They've always been pretty good at opening the gate to come and have a look at the property. We can go and see some racing stables. We can go and see anyone you want to see. Father Christmas, we're sure to find him somewhere.
Go down, watch Bernie Hackett work their horses on a very, very unique beach as well as a unique part of the world. It's there are so many hidden little things you can do there that you don't really know.
Yeah, just make a couple of days of it. It's great. Enjoy yourself.
And just on that, Cam, too, one of the best trotters in the world at the minute, Just Believe. If he goes okay Friday night, will stay for the Road Cup, which is run on that same night. So there's an added reason to go and see one of the best in the business, especially if you're a South Islander, haven't been able to see him, get yourself up there as well. So come and enjoy the weanling sale, then stay the next night for the races and see one of the best trotters we've seen in decades, because what he's doing is just outstanding as well.
Yeah, so no, look, and again, we've got 109 weanlings, yearlings, 2 yearlings.
106 and 2 yearlings.
So, as I say, the sale is made up from limited vendors, obviously. Woodlands, Alabar, Tardina have got half a dozen. Our good friends down there at Brockton Lodge. Graham Bowen, he's having a bit of a dispersal of his stock. So he's at a Captain Treacherous there as well. There's a couple of those. So, again, get onto the line, get on the catalogue. If you haven't got a catalogue by this time next week, get in touch. I'll get you one. And, look forward to seeing everyone on the 23rd. Come the 22nd, actually, to the open day.
Aussies should know that by then, hopefully, I've got them too, so they can get in touch with me if they're over here and go from there. Cam, just quickly, the NZB Millions was the trotters we raced last week. Maddie White, outstanding. Great little race, actually. Princess Sadie for Maddie Williamson as well, just going terrific. But these two young trotters, they're having a great little tussle. But again, great sale graduates of the NZB sale.
Yeah, no, it is good. And look, it was a smallish field, but again, that's one thing to always consider. You're buying a trotter, and the same with this sale here. All weanlings are eligible for the Harness Million. I think there was a pool of either 51 or 48. I just get confused as to what year that crop was. That was the 48 or the 51. But again, we're looking at 50-odd trotters paid up. So if this is a 3-year-old, the odds are stacked pretty good in your favour for a race worth $75,000 or $80,000. Paramount Kiwi, he's gone back-to-back, won the 2-year-old in October. He's backed up. He's done the job again. So, it's good for a young trainer. It's getting shared around, which is great, I think. It's good to see. Long may it continue. But again, remember, anything purchased out of the sale is eligible, that being weanlings, I should say, eligible for the race series.
Yep, 21 trotters in this weanling sale as well. Going there. Cam, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to catch up with Matty Markham very shortly for a bit of a recap of the rest of the week's racing. Things are going great in New Zealand, but 23rd of May, get to the NZB weanling sale at Karaka.
Come to the 22nd, and Mark Hughes will be able to hear his dulcet tones as he, has a bit of a pre-sale parade of the yearlings. We'll have an open day, as I say, on the 22nd. Alabar and Woodlands, I think, are going to both do their own little wee stable side parade, and we'll tear into it the next day.
I might even be able to get a look in, although Cam Grant will probably want to, so it'll be fine. I'll probably get kicked to touch again, but it'll be fine.
It's all good. I can write some notes for you. But
remember, it gets dark early in Auckland, so don't let Paul do too much talking.
Yeah, right.
Woodlands weanlings in on the 21st, a Tuesday, parade Wednesday, sell Thursday.
Yep.
We'll be on site on the 21st.
Very good. Cam, thank you.
Thank you, boys.
Right, now on over the ditch, back to the normal look. Matty Markham. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. How are we?
Very, very well. Just had Cam Hughes, Bray and Mark Hughes on promoting the NZB weanling sale. Of course, great supporters of Comments NZB, and that is on May 23rd. Plenty of news happening, Matty. There was a bit of news happening last week. You and I probably had to keep it zipped a little bit, I suppose, is the best way to put it. But great to see Bet and Win coming to the Great Square in Queensland this winter, basically June. It's June or July. So yeah.
Yeah, very good. I'm hoping Campbell's Comments will sponsor me over with my flights so I can come over and enjoy a bit of hospitality over there at Queensland. But we'll have to see about that, I suppose. We probably should have talked about that one before we went live on here, Paul. That was a bit of a faux pas from me.
It'll be right. You talk to my people will talk to your people. We'll go from there. It was a little bit interesting. I had Greg Sugars on last night live, and it was great. I'm going to do a few more of those. We'll get some New Zealand guys on as well, just over the phone, especially considering he was in New Zealand. But just to talk about Just Believe and what he's doing there. But I did notice that Jess Tubbs and Stacey Markham are going to have a get-together.
Yeah, they seem to enjoy it. As my phone rings, I apologise. They've been mates for a long time, Stacey and Jess. Obviously, Stacey came over and did a bit of a stint working with Jess at HRV, I think it was.
Yep.
A long time ago, and they've been good friends ever since. So, always a bit of banter between that lot, which is always good to see unfold. And they are very excited to get that invite. I know that much. And Bet and Win goes around on Friday night in the Uncut Gems. So it'll be another good chance to see whether he's progressed even further from that impressive first up win.
We'll touch on the fields on Friday nights and Saturday nights, provided the website stays up, because there's some chance we won't be able to have fields up, which I'm going to be then flying blind to you. You'll be looking after me, because sometimes people might say I've got a great knowledge. I also have a little laptop sits over there that makes me sound so much better and so much smarter on a lot of things, I must say. So it is good. Rightio, recap. Auckland, we'll leave Auckland for a sec. Recap of the rest of the weekend from your point of view, mate, with New Zealand harness racing. Rangiora on the weekend, big meeting at Addington. There's plenty going on.
There was. It was good racing across the board, actually. Obviously, everything centres around Auckland at the moment with the carnival they've got on there, and obviously what's coming up in the future. But good meeting at Addington on Friday night that ran alongside the Auckland meeting. Just a domination by Robert and Jenna Dunn at the moment. They are winning races left, right, and centre. They get 3, I think, at Addington on Friday night as I flip through them. And one part of that too, you and I were discussing that Blair Orange was staying at home, and we said he'll just get 4 winners routine. He just got 4 winners routine. It's just another day at the office for Blair, isn't it? Anything less than 4 is probably a bad day in his book, but that's all right. He just did Blair things as Blair does, and pretty early in the night, by the time him and Timmy Williams had finished taking their share throughout the night, there wasn't much left for anyone else. Yeah, no, it has. I can tell you one part of the website that's down is the when you go to see how many winners a driver has had for the year, that is already down, because I just went to have a look at Blair's stats for the year, and it's down. The website's still up, but that part of it is down. So don't go looking for them, Matty. Going through there, do you know roughly how many he might have driven this year? I know he's driven exactly 66 winners. Well, you go, because I know where to look. He's driven 66. He's currently 14 wins clear of John Dunn, who is on 52. Tim Williams, 47. Sam Otley's having a good year. She's 38. And Nathan Williamson, 28. And then the leading junior is Carter, who's on 26. You talked there about Johnny Dunn. Just no one, like a training operation, the Robert and Jenna Dunn just keeps rolling on. John just knocks up winning races, and he drives for outside people as well, just continues to get winners all the time, doesn't he? He does. I think John's an exceptional horseman when it comes to driving a trotter. Yep. His patient hands and the way that he manages to get those trotters to relax and trot fluently. We actually saw it on Sunday at Rangiora. He won a maiden race with a horse called
Four Wise Women.
Now, for the uninitiated over in Australia that may be wondering a little bit about that horse, it's a half brother to a very good Group 1 trotter that we had here called Five Wise Men, trained by Craig and Amy Edmonds. Now, Craig is the father of Jenna Dunn. Amy Edmonds is Jenna's sister. Craig's also based out at Woodend Beach. He did a lot of the work with Sunday Sun. Craig did. Very, very good horseman. This one's out of a good mare that they had called Harriet Hughes, who has gone on and done a super job. And I'm trying to bring up her family line. Group 1 performers like Harriet of Mott, who was a very good trotting mare here in New Zealand 4, 5, 6 years ago. So it's a very good family line. And Four Wise Women looks to have inherited it in spades, judging by its maiden win on Sunday.
I can't get the replays up. You're killing me. You know that, don't you? Because I did watch that race. It was the one time I came in and had some lunch or something, I remember, and I just turned it on and I was going to get a horse. It was early in the morning, and I just was watching it. And you're right. Like he knew what he had underneath him. He had the confidence, but just drove it a treat. Just was a magic drive. It was just pretty to watch, really. It was, typical, as you say, John Dunn drive. And that horse definitely looks like it's got a bit of a future. Some of the names you guys get in New Zealand, just on this race, we got it. Haley Moore, of course, from Western Australia, but it's spelt a little bit differently, named after. But there was another horse went around on the weekend called Sheila Laxon. It's pretty cool how you guys can get some of those names up and about. Here in Australia, we can't get, there's so many names we can't get. There was another horse in that race, Call Me the Breeze, which is a little bit close to the wind here, especially considering I'm sponsored by Harasta Trotters. But yeah, some of the names you guys get are pretty cool, aren't they?
Yeah, I know a lot of trainers like to be clever and owners and things like that. There was a pacer running around from the Dean Taylor stable about 4 or 5 years ago that the owners let their grandchildren name it. And the horse ended up being called My Nana's Got No Teeth, was the name of the horse. And then there was My Sister's a Pole Dancer, was named by the same family. So, yeah, always a bit of fun to see the cleverness that comes up with some of these horses. So just another little interesting aspect to it.
Just got the great man from Woodlands walking out. I don't know how far he got down the road. He's been gone for 10 minutes, so he's been a little way. He left his man bag behind, so he's regretting that one. But we've just got to give him a bit of a plug, Mark Hughes, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
My Nana's Got No Teeth. That's a pretty cool name, I must say. So, just trying to see how Sheila Laxon went, because it was in on the Sunday.
Ran second. Went very, very good from the Brent and Tim White stable. Made up a lot of ground. Will be a horse to follow. Now, the reason that horse is called Sheila Laxon is it's actually out of a broodmare called Ethereal.
When okay,
so for the gallop, but for the galloping nuts, they will remember that Sheila Laxon actually trained the galloper called Ethereal.
Just so you're aware, in another world, I also are a horse dentist and have to be right up there as one of the best mares that I've been fortunate enough to do the teeth on. They had another horse at the same complex called Bella Spree at the same time. It used to be a bit nerve-wracking when you go there sometimes to do some of the horses. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, it's a horse. And the Melbourne Cup, we talk about the NZB Weanling sales. Ethereal's Melbourne Cup win is actually at the Hilton at Karaka. You can see it; it's on display there. So yeah. So little side notes: we're going right and re in circles, you and me. We don't need videos, Matty, because I haven't got any videos today for the show by the looks, because they're not working, any of the videos. So which is frustrating, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's a shame because there's one video that we probably should be watching from Ringura on Sunday, and that was Moanga, who won the Country Cups race out there for Regan Todd. Robbie close to the driving. He was super. Cleared away, won by 4 lengths, just absolutely jogged it, and he comes right into contention for the $110,000 Country Cups final that we're going to see next Friday night at Addington Raceway.
So the week after.
Yes, not this Friday, next Friday. Yep.
Yeah, and that's a great race. And I remember last year, I think it was one of the races of the year. It was terrific. And as I said, won by Caleb and I can't Corbin, sorry. What was the name? Mighty Flying Louis.
Mighty Louis, yep.
Mighty Louis. So, yeah, going forward. No, I did see Mwanga win there. Robbie Close, he's driving winners all the time too, which is great to see. Johnny Cox getting some more winners there as well. Johnny's had a good couple of weeks. And a good mate of yours, Johnny Morrison, he didn't have a bad weekend, mate. Well, you didn't. bad weekend either. So
he goes all right, John Morrison. Don't worry. Yeah, he had a nice winner on Friday night at Engton with one of his own, Jimmy Ray. He's a nice wee horse. He won really good. And then, cool wee story actually. John's Rangiora win was for a guy called Kevin McRae, who will be well known to a lot of people in Canterbury, but not well known probably to a lot of people around New Zealand and Australia. He's had his license for about 30 years. He's probably trained about 50 odd starters. He's had 3 winners. Pioneer winning was his first winner in, I think, 15 years.
wow.
He hadn't raced a horse up until this one kicked in last year for about 11, I think. And funnily enough, all 3 of his winners are actually related and descendants of, well, the 2 second and third winners are descendants of his first winner, a mare called Gold Lock. So Kevin's a good man. He does a lot of work at the Chertsey Trotting Club, which is halfway between Rakaia and Ashburton. They hold workouts there every now and then over the winter months, and he's the starter there. So it was good to see him get a win.
I've never been there. That's another one I'll have to put in the.
You've probably driven past it.
Yeah,
it's on the main road, about halfway between Rakaia and Ashburton. They used to hold what they called the Chertsey Gymkhana back in the old days. I remember when I was kids.
Is it a grass track?
No, all-weather track. There's a greyhound track inside it, an old greyhound track. But they used to get hundreds and hundreds of horses to their Chertsey Gymkhana Day every year, and you'd see people that would tie their horses up to the side of the float and have to gear them up and go out from there, and there'd be bouncy castles and all sorts of stuff. One of those cool old country tracks that now just gets used for the odd workout here and there.
Mark Hughes took me years ago, no, only a year ago. Actually, it would be a year ago. It was a weanling. We like going in different locations to change things up, to get the message out there. And I can't think of the name of the track, but it's in Melbourne, in the main part of Melbourne. And he showed me it, and the track is still there. It's a walking track now, and dogs and everything else like that. And I said, geez, I wonder how much of the track they cut off. And he said, nah, none. And then you see this track and you hear stories of people saying that they were spilling over the roads, and the roads have always been there. It's just, yeah, some of that history is just outstanding. I can't think of the name of the place at the minute, but yeah, just a brilliant place. They trained horses there up until about 10 years ago, and I don't know how they even did that. So just amazing. So anyway, rightio, let's go to Auckland. There was a fair bit happening at Auckland last week. Just a brilliant night of racing, mate. Matt?
It was, yeah. Saw quality horses, but you expect that when you see the quality of horse flesh that's on offer. We talked a lot about that Taylor Mile and what might eventuate, and well, given the fact they paid $151, I don't think anyone expected the three-legged pacer to be storming home down the outside fence with Crystal Hackett in the bike winning, which was really, really cool. That'll go down as one of the moments of the year, I think, seeing that. Obviously didn't have a drive, and the only reason she got the drive was because Tony Hurley was suspended and Scott Phelan, the co-trainer, jumped on to sooner the better, the stablemate, and Crystal got the nod. But very cool, and I don't know if you'd seen it or anyone else had seen it, but Mick Guerin had the story that when Crystal was a young schoolgirl, she got called up by Barry to go and drive at the workouts one Saturday morning, and popped along there thinking she might get a couple of quiet ones. And Barry threw her on Mac Shard. That was their first workout drive for Barry Purdon.
Yep.
And then here we go.
First drive on a pacer.
Yeah, first drive on a pacer, because obviously was aligned with Bernie and Michelle, mum and dad, and trotters are their thing, obviously. First drive on a pacer, and first drive was Mac Shard, and here we go full circle. I think it's 5, 6, 7 years later, and she's winning a Group 1 on him at 155-1, which is awesome.
I'm actually going to Shepherd and Harness once we finish this interview. I'll be going to Shep Harness tonight and going to sit down with Crystal and have a bit of a good chat with her, because a lot of people might be thinking she hasn't been getting a lot of love. She basically jumped on a plane the next day for an organised holiday. I think she'd be returning to New Zealand a week early, because I noticed she had a couple of plum little drives this weekend now because of last week. So she was going to stay here for 2 weeks, but yeah, and she notched up a winner. Anyone not aware, she drove a winner yesterday at Yarra Valley. She first drive on Australian shores, and she got the chockies as well. So really, really cool. She's got a great friendship. They're great mates, her and Sarah. Would have been so cool for her. Sarah, of course, won her first Group 1 race back in December or January. Was it last year or the
December?
December, with American Me. And I know then they were down there over the Christmas break, and it was terrific for Sarah's. And Crystal, with another young lady doing great things in the industry. great ambassador as well for the sport. A couple of times I've asked for chats. She speaks so eloquently. Presentation is out of this world. Dead set asset for our industry. The fact that she's coming over here now doing a little bit of driving as well, she could be good for both sides of the ditch as well. So we definitely need more young people in the sport. And Crystal Hackett hopefully will be in the sport for a long time because she's clearly an asset. And congratulations to her with her first Group 1. And must say to Shard Farms as well. I'm pretty sure Mark and Deb would have been doing backflips, probably down there in the bottom of Invercargill after seeing that. I don't think they would have made the trip up, but they would have been absolutely rapt to see one of their proteges doing such a stellar job.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Crystal's been earmarked by a lot of good judges for a very long time as being an exceptional horsewoman, and someone who is only going to get better with time and experience and more driving. And trips like what she's doing, I understand it was organised by Chris Alford for her to go over there and spend some time. And I don't know whether she's going back after she's driven at Alexandra Park on Friday night or if she's staying put. I'm not sure. You can ask her that tonight, Paul. But yeah, she's long been a very, very good driver. And she's only going to get better. And it's always cool seeing those young people that you've seen go out and have their first drive, grab that Group 1, their first, But look, like you say, like Sarah at Invercargill last year. So more of that, please. I quite enjoyed that.
It's sort of the evolution too of, I suppose, harness racing in New Zealand, isn't it, in a way? Because for so long, Natalie has been at the top of the pecking order, rightfully so. Nikki Chilcott, leading New Zealand lady driver. Sam's come along and taken the mantle off. But these two young girls, and there's quite a few others coming through the ranks, really blazing a trail, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. We're in a really strong position when it comes to our female horsewomen, not just drivers either. I go through the trainers. You look at the rise of Anna Donnelly, Gina Dunn, Chrissy Dalgety, just to name a few. Really starting to make a mark on the industry, and we're in a good position here in New Zealand for that, which is great to see. And yeah, I actually was thinking about that the other day, and I meant to go back through my records. I wouldn't have thought there would have been too many Group 1 races in New Zealand where the Quinella was driven by female drivers. Obviously, Natalie Rasmussen runs second on Don't Stop Dreaming. Now, I will go and do some hunting on that one and see what I can find out once the HRNZ Info Horse System's back up and running later on tonight.
It would be possibly Natalie, Sam, something along those lines.
I'm kind of thinking a harness Jules type setup. Maybe there might have been something along those lines, but then again, it could have equally as easily been a Group 1 with Nikki and Natalie. Most of it.
What about a New Zealand Trotting Cup? Maybe Arden Rooney, who runs second to Roons.
Oh, now you're testing me. I would like to say
No, it was Mark. It was definitely Mark. I can see the picture in my head now. It was definitely yes, it was Mark Purden. I can't think of the name of the horse, but I'm sure it was Mark up the inside. So the worst part is this is pre-recorded, so other people will be watching it, and they're probably saying, "You idiots! You should know this." But yeah, you can't get it up, can you?
No, it's not working.
Of all the times, but I do think it was Mark. But that was just anyway. We'll worry about that one later on. Rightio. The Taylor Mile in isolation, 150 to 1 pop wins it. You think, geez, the other horses must have gone bad. Pretty hard to find a horse that did go bad in that. I think Jollymont got tired. Sooner the better, unfortunately, got knocked out. Then you go to American Me, and he has been beaten. Where is the margin? Doesn't give you the margin on this, but he's been
4.8 lengths.
Yeah, that's where it is there. So, and he ran last, and he is still looking to get out. It was through no fault of his own. It was a great finish, wasn't it?
It was. It was a really competitive race. I was watching it at Addington in the stables there with a few other horse people watching it on TV, and it was commented at the top of the straight that anyone could win this. You kind of thought Don't Stop Dreaming was looming into it like the winner. Then you saw Crystal coming, but you're right. I mean, I thought one of the runs of the races was Better Eclipse again. He's gone super.
Yep.
He just can't buy a barrier draw, which is really disappointing because I think of any horse that I've seen come over from Australia in the last few years that hasn't won a Group 1, he actually deserves to win a Group 1 over here. He has been super in every start he has had in New Zealand. as I just go and try and remind myself, so he's drawn 6 in the middle of the front line on Friday night. So that doesn't help him. But
no, with the horses around him, it's a
terrible
draw. Yeah.
He'll go another great race, I'm sure of that. But you can make a case for all of them. American Me, as you say, well, he was going probably his best at the end of the race, and he's not really a mile horse. He wants 2,700 metres, 3,200 metres. He'd go 6,000 metres, I think that was.
It was quite funny because Max Shard come down the outside. Then you had another 3. You had Don't Stop Dreaming, Merlin, and Kango. Def behind leader 1-1. They've run 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But then you go back out to the outside with Better Eclipse and Speak the Truth. And I know Self Assured split them, but he didn't really get out either. But they were back out wide. Republican Party did get tired. He was probably the only other one. But Matty White, South Coast Arden, he's flying. He's another horse. Just never got a clear run. There was sort of Self Assured, South Coast Arden, and American Me dead set still looking for runs. There was 3 horses went wide. Max Shard was one of those and gets the chockies, but the other 2 horses were good. And Speak the Truth's got a barrier draw this week. It was a really interesting race, and I sets up for still what's going to be another 3 weeks more of high class racing down there or up there at Auckland. It's just outstanding and great for the future of the sport, I think.
Yeah, it's really good. And, it's a continuation of this build-up of obviously the Race by Grins and getting more of these Australian horses over here competing in these type of races. You're right. Speak the Truth lobs the 8th this week in the Messenger. I know the American Me Cap was very excited to see that because they've drawn 1 the second line behind him and will follow him everywhere. So that's going to be another great addition. Merlin obviously draws a bit better this week. He's drawn 3. As opposed to 1 on the second row. So going to be an intriguing race again. And obviously that step up in distance is quite crucial for a number of these horses.
Kango was outstanding. Had the cheek, 500 from home to put his head in front, and then Republican Party come back underneath him. So often you see horses, that's it for them. Once that horse comes back underneath them, they sort of seem to stop. Not him. He just said, no, I'm just going to keep trucking. And even when Don't Stop Dreaming went past him, he didn't care. He just kept trucking. It was great. It was a great race. Watched the Bendigo, come home, watch the replay. Watched the replay earlier today just to refresh myself for this show. It's a really cool race and takes so much out of it, but great for the industry and that. Not one of the standout races of the year, but definitely not one of the worst races you're going to see for the year. Although I reckon Crystal Hackett might say it's a standout race for the year going forward. With Better Eclipse, a lot will depend with him as to what his plans are. With what Harry does this weekend, Just Believe, of course, he took out the Lyell Creek dominant faction. What were your thoughts with Oscar Bonavina on his back? Did you think, this will be interesting about this Australian start?
I did. I actually watched it with Ricky May, I think. And Ricky said, this is going to be interesting with Oscar sitting on the back of him because we know how quick Oscar Bonavina can be. And I just question at the moment whether the Oscar Bonavina that we're seeing is the Oscar Bonavina that we were seeing a few months ago. But Harry made Oscar Bonavina look like a learner trotter at the top of the straight.
Yep. With
a simple shake of the reins from Greg. Just absolutely dashed away from them and made it look too easy.
Yep.
Too easy. Muscle Mountain comes into the fray this week. Which will be interesting because obviously he was well below par in the TRB trot slot as well. So, it's going to be interesting. But Harry's here and everything else is here and they've got to get to him.
I tend to agree with you with Oscar Bonavina. I don't know whether he would have beat, according to Greg, he wouldn't have beat Harry anyway because he had plenty left, Just Believe. But he possibly just doesn't seem as sharp. And I go back to asking Mark earlier in the year whether he'd be coming across for the Great Southern Star, and he said no because it's so hard to get his feet right. They've got a pattern that works, and of course that's at Christchurch, not on the North Island. They're probably replicating everything, but they probably can't quite get everything quite right. He does have feet trouble, so you wonder whether that's just took that little bit of an edge off him, or again we sell Harry short on how good a horse he is.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of both to it for me. I was having to think about it today, and they've spaced his race as well. But Oscar Bonavina's been up since a couple of times.
He'd nearly been up. No, before that, he was up before because he was at Kaikoura. He won at Kaikoura.
Yeah. And I know he's probably
he would have been up through the winter.
Yeah, no, he wasn't up through the winter. He won at the grass at Methven in December. before he won down at Invercargill. So I'm sure he's had 5 days, 6 days, 7 days off here and there along the way, but it has been a big and busy campaign for him when you actually look at it. And I wish I could actually bring up his stats to talk about them, but
both us.
I'm not digging at HRNZ either, by the way. But yeah, I just wonder whether he might be coming to the end of a campaign, and I would question maybe whether we'll see him come Road Cup time.
Yeah.
Or whether they'll go to the paddock now with a view to a good long break and then a good steady build up towards defending his Dominion Handicap title in November.
Also super exciting, as I said last night. So Greg, anyone that didn't watch last night, Greg was saying that depending on what Harry does this week, how he feels, they will stay for the Road Cup. If he stays for the Road Cup, then obviously Better Eclipse will stay as well for the Auckland Cup. So that'll be super exciting. And that's on the 24th of May, the day after the weanling sale for NZB. One of the questions was asked, would we see these horses come Cup week? And the answer was possibly. So how exciting would that be to see, not just Better Eclipse come across and start in a standing start race, which I think would be right up his wheelhouse over a long trip, but also Just Believe and in Dominion Handicap taking on Oscar on his back doorstep and Muscle Mountain on their back doorstep. I mean, how excited! Like, that's super, super exciting. Plus other up-and-coming horses, Sunny Sister and those sorts of horses. You just don't know what sort of field that would be. Bet and Win. He'll be back there for that. Like, yeah, going to be – start selling it now. Get on to Matty and Paul if you want to promote anything coming up for the Auckland Cup, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
New Zealand Cup, sorry. Wrong one.
We'll take all forms of bribes and payments.
Yep. New hat. Don't know if you noticed too, new hat from Woodlands because they got them out for it's the old hat redone too. So going on for there. Right out. Rest of the night. Unfortunately, we don't have the videos for a few of these races. Smoke on the Water. I know a horse you were very, very keen on. Got the job done again, Matty.
Yeah, he's a super horse. He's had a busy 6 months. He's been everywhere. He is now the leader for the Country Cups final next week in terms of points. So he'll head there full of confidence after a good win, as too will the little mare from Blenheim, Boudica, who ran second for Tony Thomas. Tony only trains 1 or 2 horses, so great for him to have a horse that'll race for $110,000 next Friday night at Addington. She runs second there to Smoke on the Water. So, yeah, that was good to see.
2-year-olds, the Delightful Lady Classic for the 2-year-old fillies. Barry Purdon, Scotty Phelan, they're just having a magic year. You're the one that I want, beat one and only. There's a little bit of a routine sort of win. I don't know where these horses are at as far as a pecking order and that, but they were good wins, both of them. Well, good wins.
Yeah.
Both. You're the one that I want, sorry.
Doesn't win by much, you're the one that I want, but it gets the job done. Yep. They do seem like a pretty even crop. I know a few of them are taking the next step up this week and taking on some of the boys. Well, You Are the One I Want. We'll shoot for 4 in a row, taking on the boys in the Young Guns final on Friday night. So that'll be interesting to see, taking on the likes of Cyclone Geordie and Demon Blue, who were both so good last week.
Stay on that race. Demon Blue, of course, owned by Australian interests. A lot of you Kiwis may not be aware, but Danny Zavatanos and Dominic Marantello, both Australians, obviously. Danny Zav, of course, has won a New Zealand Trotting Cup. I can't think of his name. His name just left me, the horse. But anyway, that's him. Thank you very much. But Demon Blue, they are both avid Melbourne supporters, so that's where the Demon Blue comes from. So a little bit of a AFL connotation. Did you see Crystal Hackett went to the AFL? She would have had no idea watching Sam Alford kick a ball. She'd have been sitting there. There was a picture with a smile on her face. I'd tip and she was saying under her breath, what are these peanuts doing? She wouldn't have had a hope in hell of understanding that.
Oh, I'm sure she would. Yeah, you probably underestimate how much Kiwis actually follow Australian sport, Paul.
If they do, get on the Blue Baggers this year. I'm telling you, it's the year of the Blue. So going from there. Kath McIntosh has rang me 3 times while I've been doing this. You reckon she wants me, but that's okay. We will wait for her. The NZB Standardbred Harness Millions. I spoke to Cam Bray before. These 2 young horses, they're building up a terrific rivalry here, Paramount Kiwi and Princess Sadie. It's great to watch. The drive of Matty Williamson was outstanding. I'm tipping he was filthy when the brother, well, not the brother, the horse trained by Caleb Bubblets, who works for Brad, wobble down into the sprint lane and open up this saloon passage for Paramount Kiwi. It was a great drive, great race, had everything going in it.
Yeah, Princess Sadie looks like she's strengthened up a bit from her last campaign. She always looked like a good horse, but she looks like she's come back super. But this Paramount Kiwi is something else, and we're going to see some great 3-year-old racing throughout the next, 8 months of this year. Empire City returns to Alexandra Park this week. I will tell you, she's every bit as good as Paramount Kiwi.
Yep,
Empire
totally.
City, every bit.
She was last year.
Yep. So that's going to be great to see them, go to war a few times. But yeah, just the ultimate professional Paramount Kiwi, and such a great continuation of this great Paramount star family that's given us Paramount GG and all those ones that come over there and pillage breeders' crowns for a few years in a row from Newport.
You don't forget, do you, you guys? That is for sure. And as I said, Maddie Williamson's just doing a great job with Princess Sadie. Listen to the preamble, if you like, on trackside sometimes, and you listen to certain things, and they sit in your ear, and other times they don't. Hugo Tastic, Salish, is that how we say his name? Abernathy?
Salish, yep.
They were talking, and the whale more or less said he doesn't think he's quite up to these, and he'll be driven hard and not sure. Well, he was driven hard. This horse, Hugo Tastic, he's going terrific. Fantastic, isn't he?
He is. Probably a perfect horse for Salish, because Salish does like to get up on the speed and get rolling, and he does a super job from very limited opportunities, actually. He's a very good driver. And, yeah, good to see Peter and Vaughan Blanchard pick up a winner on a big night. They do a great job with their team. Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely. We had Southern Diamond win the first trot. We also had Always Be You for John and Jenna Dunn and Robert as well. Must say congratulations to them too. I noticed Sonny's sister cracked $200,000 in stakes as well. And I believe she's been invited as well to the Great Square. They just haven't said yes or no as well. So they've got a terrific team there. I'm just trying to see who won the last couple of races after Just Believe. Fifth and final, Zach Butcher won the 10th, and that was it for the night by the looks. Yep, that was the last race. So yeah, so bit of a wrap there from the night. Was there much to any horse do you reckon to follow going forward?
No, look, these feature race meetings generally tend to hold their form. What I would say, and I've talked to a couple of pretty astute judges about it this week, is American Me is not the worst top 4 bet this week, because I think they'll lead with Speak the Truth, or try and lead, or at least trail Merlin.
I'm happy to go. We can go through these fields because I can get these fields across because they're still working on my side here. So what race is that one?
That is the Messenger race 6.
I have it, and we'll just whack that up over the top of us while you're going, because I don't need to see our ugly mug the whole time, so we can whack that up there. So, sorry, you were saying you think Merlin might cross?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting out of the gate, because obviously you've got Kango there who likes to get on the speed, but Adam Sanderson's finally got a draw to use with Speak the Truth, and I think he'll be probably pretty keen to try and make the most of it, I would have thought. Which will put American Me on his back, and he'll thrive on the 2,700 metres. I know he's $8.50 a place here in some markets, so he might be a wee sneaky to follow this week, because if they run really, really hard and he's sitting on the fence doing no work, he's such a good stayer.
And so Speak the Truth, really, for that matter as well. So it could be that fence going from there. Be interesting to see how Speak the Truth gets around. I know Greg, again, he said the other night that Better Eclipse will still be better for the run. I don't know if you heard Matty as well. He said himself, because he said the way you normally sit in a sulky, and he said that it was so foreign. He said even driving Just Believe in front, just trying to get himself balanced and understanding where to sit was quite interesting. So by the sounds, even Greg's going to be better for the outing again.
Yeah, it's an interesting setup, if you're driving all of the time and going in that normal direction, and then you go to Alexandra Park and you're used to looking over, your left shoulder to see where everyone is as you turn for home. You look over your left shoulder at Alexandra Park and all you see is marker pegs. Whereas if you look over your right, or the other way around, whatever, the horses are, those little things like when you're looking to punch through a gap or those sort of, it does take a little bit of an adjustment. I've only ever driven in one race at Alexandra Park, and it was a dual sulky race into Dominion Grand Final night one year. I did win. I will throw that out there, Paul. one from one at the park. Big momentous occasion in my career. Big screen interview with Mick Guerin afterwards and everything. But no, it would take a bit of adjusting. And it's the same as it is for horses that have never raced there and had to learn, to sprint around a bend going the opposite way to what they're used to, kind of thing. And I know a lot of trainers, down here in Canterbury nowadays actually spend a bit of time working their horses the Auckland way around, as they call it, so that if they ever need to go up there, they at least know whether they're going to handle it or not. Yeah,
and Pukekohe, I think they have trials.
Yep.
Every other week, or they might have trials on the same meeting, do they? And some are left-handed, some right-handed, or something like that.
Correct.
I have seen that as well. Other highlights for the night were the Oaks race for the What the Hell at Woodlands. Look at me, look after me. Sponsors didn't even know I was going to be doing that. Interesting, cool little race here. Only 9 in it, but real quality field of trotters.
It's got depth. Real depth, actually. Princess Sadie, Love Me Again. The Moonstone's a very good horse from Nicky Chilcott's stable. High Step, who obviously spent a lot of time in Australia last year. Yep. Empire City, as I say, I think it's her race to lose, even from the outside of the front line. I think she will be so much better for that first run up there a couple of weeks ago. And in a single moment's done nothing wrong for Tony Hurley either, and Tony Cameron. So, yeah.
It's got a lot going for it. And like you didn't really touch on Princess Sadie. We have touched on her a few times, but just absolutely flying against the boys. And she's not normally those trotters are clear-cut favourites. She may not even start favourite in this race.
Yeah, she might not. I wouldn't be surprised if Empire City started favourite, just based on her reputation and the opinion that her connections have got of her. But it's just a part of a great night of racing. Obviously, you've got the Peter Brecker Memorial National trot later on. As we said before, Harry goes up against Muscle Mountain. Oscar Bonavina's there as well. So it's going to be interesting, that one being a mobile. I think will help the likes of Muscle Mountain early. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one pressing forward and looking to try and get the top early. But, yeah, you never know. He was obviously disappointing the race by grins. But it is a wonderful card of racing there on Friday night, supported by a very good card at Addington as well.
Yeah, it is. And you said before about that Addington meeting. It's there's some NZ. I got to hit that button. Can't get out of it sometimes. There's the Uncut Gems, 3 heats of the Uncut Gems with Bet and Win going around in one of those. So we better make sure we look after that horse, or we will get into trouble.
Yeah, look, he goes around again, but he makes some pretty nice stops. Mighty Logan, who ran second to him the other nights there. You also bring in Mr. Love, who created quite an impression for Greg and Nina Hope, excuse me, in the last campaign, and also Eurostyle, who was sensational last Friday night behind Sunny Sister. Big run, worked really, really hard inside the first mile to get onto the speed, and then about 50 metres off the post, I thought she was going to run past Sunny Sister, but she pulled out all her quality to win the race. So good race. Those Uncut Gems are generally good races. There's also a very good size stakes heat.
Hang on, we'll go the other way. Go the well, it might be this is for the 4-year-olds because there's a few up and comers in this race. A couple of these might be getting ready for the race next week as well. With this, I would imagine one of the last couple of hit outs for them.
Yeah, there's a couple in there that are qualified, I think, but there's some real up-and-comers, as you say. Wish Me Luck's been creating a good impression for Hayden Cullen. Warrior Chief is a very, very good horse in the makings. Lindy's been very good for Bob Butt. But then you've got the Dunn Quartet, Double Time, Heisenberg, Who's Delight, Charlie Brown, etc. So it's going to be a cracking race, that one, and then the Mares one, obviously, later in the night as well.
And that's
should be won by one of the 2 Stonewall mares, I would have thought, based on ability. Sweet Diamond obviously got the job done in the Southern Belle Speed Series last time out down south, but Carloa Flyby is a very, very fast mare when saved up for one run, and if she has the last say, she could be hard to hold out. So looking forward to that meeting on Friday night. And yeah, as I said, there's a race 6 is a size stakes race. You've got Built for Glory, who won the Southern Supremacy. Cashkeeper's coming out of winning the 3-year-old race at Rangiora on Sunday. We Walk by Faith, Cold Chisel, Dreams Are Free, and Chase a Dream. That's a 6-horse field, but that is 6 quality horses.
Who'd want to be a race caller? Have a look at that. Blue, grey with blue, blue and blue. And good luck to Matty. He'll enjoy that. Yeah, that is a real high quality race there. Dreams Are Free, where's he at? What do you think of his Invercargill run?
I don't think it was too bad. I think he'll appreciate a good, strong tempo, which he'll get. It'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Built for Glory's got speed. Cashkeeper will probably look to jump straight on his back. They'll look to lead trail. Understand John Morrison's driving Cold Chisel for Barry Purdon and Scott Phelan. With Zach obviously up in Auckland.
That's great for
yeah, he was with a smile about a mile wide around the Ashburton Racecourse this morning. So
he always has that anyway.
Yeah, well, that's true. Oh, no, I've seen him grumpy a few times.
Still remember, I left an F-bomb in one of my interviews with Johnny, and he did the right thing by me. He actually made sure he kept it, so that even though when I changed it, he was still able to show all of his friends what I'd done. And it was going off. It was one of those interviews when all of a sudden you're getting all these pings, and I'm like, something's going on here. I better have a little watch of this. And might have left the F-bomb in it. So not the first, not the last time. I think you and I have left a finger in one of these shows. I said I'd cut that out. I don't know if you noticed. You probably didn't go back and watch it either. I said I'd get rid of the finger, and I didn't. So anyway, professionals through and through. Matt, thank you. Hopefully next week they don't do a 4:00 upgrade to the website on us. So it says it'll be back soon, but it's still not back. So just did make it a little bit interesting. Always good. I love your insight when we're watching races, just to get an understanding of where they're at, and I think the Aussies do too. Going from there, so really do appreciate it. We'll catch up next week, but just actually changes to the racing calendar. Things are starting to change already. You've got a Wednesday night meeting at Addington, and then a Friday as well. There's talks of gallops going to the Sunday. Things are going to change. I know you're not keen on the Sunday slot, and I don't want you to say anything to get yourself into trouble, but things are definitely going to have a bit of a different look, if you like, to them in the next year, and it's starting to see that now.
Yeah, 100%. So the racing calendar obviously released in the last couple of weeks, and seen a major uplift of races in the North Island, particularly Cambridge and Auckland. Interestingly enough, the majority of Cambridge meetings being now held on Tuesdays.
Yep.
And Alexandra Park and Addington running side by side pretty much every Friday night. What we will need there is an uplift in horse numbers in the North Island to make that sustainable. And also we'll need some pretty smart programming from clubs to ensure that horses are getting their chance to have at least one run a week at either of the venues. The Sunday thing's an interesting one. So for as long as I can care to remember, the Sunday's been arguably Harness's Day in the Sun. Where we've moved away from Saturday meetings. We still have the odd one, just like Thoroughbreds still have the odd Sunday meeting up until this point, but there's been an uptake of about 30 Sundays next season where the harness meetings will run against Thoroughbred meetings, in some instances within an hour of each other. So what, to me, that's doing is diluting the harness product. Clubs like Miffin, Mocha Carrara that are turning over easily 1.1, 1.2 million each Sunday will now struggle to probably clear the $1 million mark because there is that option there for punters. So it's going to be a battle for harness, but hopefully the product remains of a high level, particularly those grass tracks, because they are such a backbone of the industry and actually help keep a lot of it afloat with their turnover prices. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds, but it's all for the betterment of all three codes of racing in New Zealand, I guess, at the end of the day. So we've got to get on board and do our bit. Yeah, we do. And I know here in Victoria, like some of the states in Australia are going outstanding, but Victoria is struggling. And I know there's going to be some major upheavals very shortly. Hear a lot of rumours. How many of them are going to be true, I don't know. But there's probably two sides to it. We don't like change, but sometimes you just got to suck it and see. As well, and go that way there. There is the other side of that too, Matty. One of the things I was thinking, you wonder how a lot of those galloping guys are thinking now. They got to pay staff on a Sunday. I know thoroughbred racing down south is not as going anywhere near as good as what it is up north, and especially here in Australia.
So they're going to have to be paying staff on a Sunday. Staff may not want to be heading, on the road on Sunday afternoons in the middle of winter for a meeting that's going to get called off because it's too wet. So there's always going to be those sides of things as well. So it will be an interesting watch, but I think it's inevitable, the fact that there is going to be a lot of change. As I said, starts this week for mine. I don't know. I can't remember the last time you had a Wednesday night meeting. Outside of your carnival, like outside your summertime.
No, 2 or 3 weeks, month ago, there was a Wednesday. There's been a couple of Wednesday meetings the last couple of months. Generally, what will happen once we get into the winter months is we'll go Friday, Sunday at Eddington a lot more and race those 2 dates just to try and, get away from having to make the majority of people travel too far in those winter months. So, it's interesting to see how it will unfold.
Yeah, you lose meetings too, sometimes running on those lesser tracks. They're not equipped for the heavy downpours as well. So, it's going to will be interesting. It's inevitable that it is going to change, unfortunately, because, as I say, the same thing's rumoured to be happening here. I don't know exactly how it's all going to look, but, if any of the rumours are right, it's going to be very different here in Victoria. And I just hope it improves our product, because I'm very jealous of what you guys have in New Zealand. Sometimes when you're over there, and I know sometimes you get over there, I think people watch it and they say, "Oh, you're so lucky in Australia, so lucky in Australia." The product you guys got in New Zealand's outstanding, and the horses quality you're putting on, the people's quality that you present, it's outstanding. So hopefully that fabric never changes, that you can rock up to any meeting and be treated so well, and the sport's always happy. I hope, anyway, going forward. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, 100%. I think I've said to you before, if I had $1 for every person that told me that the game was going to die because of a decision that's been made and that was the end of harness racing, and last person out turn off the lights, I'd be a rich man. We're a pretty resilient bunch, both here and in Australia. We tend to roll with the punches and just get on with the job. And as I say, I just hope that this doesn't dilute our product too much going forward. But I'm sure that we will, fight for as much as we can and keep the game going for as long as we can here in New Zealand anyway.
Matty, thank you. Love chatting to you. Love talking harness racing. That's pretty much all we try to do over the ditch. We're not out to win Oscars or academies. We're not out to break news, even when we do know it beforehand. We have to sit on our hands. That was frustrating, wasn't it? But just trying to get the message out there for the industry and highlight some of the lesser knowns as well. So, mate, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No, always a pleasure to talk harness with you, Paul, and look forward to doing it next week.
Thank you.